All right, I want to talk quickly about a couple of 3D printed, um, I guess we'll call them jigs, but they are for a handsaw. And so in my class, I actually am lucky enough to have almost a class set of handsaws. And so it's one of the few tools that I can actually put in everybody's hand at the same time and have them use. And so trying to lean on that in a way that gets kids actively building, because when they're actively building, things go great. When kids are waiting for tool use, things can go off the rails sometime. And so I had a couple of these miter boxes, maybe three of them, which work okay. They still are pretty expensive though in terms of my class needs. So it can be $10 to $20 per miter box. And I just wasn't comfortable purchasing, 30 of these for the class. And so what we came up with, we had our first project where we needed to cut out basically a bunch of 1-inch squares that they put together for their pixel art project. And so to do that, I wanted to use the hand saws, but give kids a way to do it easily and quickly. So we came up with this simple zero clearance handsaw jig. And so what it does is this pops off. This helps you just align it. But you basically attach it to a board, and then as you cut in, you'll cut in this curved line, and that will really hold the saw blade in the same position. So you can cut a straight 90-degree, or you can have your 45-degree angles if you wanted to. So the way that students use this is they built a jig that basically allowed them to slide this over. This is set to 1 inch here, right? They can cut their piece, pop that out, slide it over, keep cutting. And so pretty easily they have that repeatable process to fabricate a bunch of these. So it's good for them to think through of, yes, we could cut one of these, but if we really have to cut 200 of them, how are we going to do that efficiently? And so we have this version. It's disposable, right? We can 3D print them and use them year to year if we want to, or it was good for students to figure out how to build their own jig. So they're cheap enough on the 3D printer that we can just print them each year. So I'll make these files available to download on the website as well. If you want to purchase them, you can too, but I'll make them free to download. And then we had a second version that we haven't really used yet, and it models a little bit closer to this guy. And so what you have is you have your crosscut, and then you have the guide that'll sit there to help you keep that saw blade vertical. You have a 45-degree there, and then we added this bevel here. So that bevel will allow you to cut at a 45-degree angle like that. And again, all these will get cut in. And so we haven't tried this one yet, but it allows us basically the functionality of this guy, but for a price point that if you have a 3D printer, you can make a class set pretty easily. And then even if they don't get used year to year, it can just be considered a consumable. So again, the 3D printer is hugely helpful in my class. It allows us to do kind of this specialty tool creation and let students also see kind of that process of when you have a special need, something like this, you have the ability to design a solution that works for you, and then actually make it with a 3D printer has been hugely, hugely helpful.